Okay. And can you recall one of the most exciting games that you saw the Tigers play?
The clinching game of the 1984 World Series, when Kirk Gibson hit the home run and everybody went mad. They went crazy because they knew that at that point the Tigers had an insurmountable lead and they couldn't lose, and that was the clinching game to win the series.
And where were you at that time?
At Tiger Stadium.
You were at that game?
I was at that game.
That they won the World Series?
With your mother. And in fact, we were sitting in box seats that belonged to Tommy Lasorda, and Willie Horton was sitting directly behind us.
And who is Willie Horton?
He was on the 1968 World Series team at that time. He played with Al Kaline and Mickey Stanley and Jim Northrup.
Oh, cool. Do you remember, did you listen or watch the game in the 1968 World Series?
I did watch them. I did not watch them because, yes, I did watch, and I also listened to them. And I do remember the day that they were behind 3-1 in games to the St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis had won 3 games, and the Tigers had won 1 game. And then the Tigers went on to win 3 games in a row. And I did listen to the game that the Tigers clinched the World Series that year. And at the time I was playing with a bunch of other women. We were playing Mahjong, which is a game played with Chinese tiles. And everybody threw the tiles up in the air and went crazy because of the win that the Tigers had.
Do you think, you recall the Detroit riots in 1967, right?
Detroit what?
The Detroit riots?
Yes, I do. In fact, that was one of the things that they feel the 1968 World Series was like a healing from the 67 riot, that it helped, everybody feel much better as to what had gone on. And
kind of brought everyone back together.
Yeah, right.
Have the relationship between the players and fans changed throughout the years?
I haven't really noticed any change personally. There may have been. I don't think that the relationship between the fans and the players is as close today as it was years ago. I think people related to them a lot more years ago than they do today.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, it may be the high salaries that have something to do with it.
Of today?
Today, I don't think ordinary people are able to relate to them as well because they're all millionaires.
And when you had children, was it more difficult to attend the games and keep up with the seasons?
Yes. Although I think I went to a few of the games when my children were younger because my dad was still alive, and he saw to it that because he took his grandchildren to a lot of the Tiger games. He was he went to so many of the games because he was an attorney in Detroit, and at that time, because there was no air conditioning in the courts, during the summer, they closed court at 1 o'clock or shortly before that. It was like a half session. So he went to every game that he could possibly attend. And he never, ever missed an opening day game here.
What do you think about the issue of race in sports? And can you remember how you felt when African Americans started playing in the major leagues?
I don't recall ever paying that much attention to the fact that there was a difference between when they didn't play and when they did play. It just sort of became a gradual thing for me to, I never paid any attention to it because it never made a difference to me. I mean, if they were a good player, I didn't care what color they were, what nationality they were, as long as they helped the team.
Do you remember how other people responded to the African Americans joining the leagues?
Well, I do know that there were a number of people that never cared for the idea of African Americans playing on the team, and there was a great deal of antagonism toward that. But since I feel very neutral about it, I mean, I never really thought about it to any degree.
And what do you think about the issue of drugs in sports?
I think it's terrible, and I think that the pro athletes today who do that not only are ruining their career, but I think it's a very bad, can't think of the word. I think it's very bad for young children, young kids that are growing up, for them to, if they are avid sports fans, I think that it's a very bad example for them to have to follow or see that kind of behavior.
All right. And well, those are all my questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for your time, Grandma.
Oh, you're welcome, honey.